Kettleland SportsZone Saturday starts now.
The FCS National Championship will be set by the day's end. Another local football team is playing for a national title, and racing season is upon us. Welcome to SportsZone Saturday. I'm Sean Bauer alongside Tanner Castora.
Sean, South Dakota State is a win away from its first trip to Frisco for a national title, but standing in their way is an undefeated Delaware team that's already upset one of the top seeds in the playoff. Kettleland's Grant Sweeter takes a look at the Jacks and Blue Hens matchup prior to kickoff.
South Dakota State is back in the FCS semifinals for the third time in school history, though the team is still looking for their first ever national championship appearance.
We don't change anything. We want to know today, want to know tomorrow. You know, you have to tweak some schedules because of finals. You have to tweak some schedules because of the 11 a.m. game, but there's no tweaking. We haven't talked about the two semifinal losses. Some of these guys were part of some of that, but you know, we play in the present. You know that.
The Jacks lost to James Madison and NDSU in the 2017 and 2018 FCS semifinals, but the leadership of this year's team could be just what the team needs to reach the championship.
The leadership makes us different. They're the guys that laid down the 7 goals for the season, and so the leadership coupled with their vision for what they want, they've really accomplished 6 of the 7 goals for the most part. And obviously everybody probably has in the back of their mind or on a piece of paper a national championship. Well, we're a ways from that, but that's the other goal they had. So the leadership, I think, is what's made us different.
True freshman Mark Gronowski has been solid for SDSU down the stretch, as the Jacks own the 19th best scoring offense in FCS football.
Football knowledge, I think he's way ahead of his game with that. And so with that came confidence. With the confidence came some victories, which built on it. But probably the most important thing, I think, part of his recipe is the number of players, the entire football team. The entire football team that was behind him, that were behind him before he took a snap.
SDSU enters the semifinal round rushing for more than 230 yards per game, which is 6th best in the FCS.
They're supporting each other, you know, because obviously when Pierre's running the ball, Isaiah's not, and the flip of that is the same, and they're both very supportive. Now I think both have approached it right.
The Jackrabbits are now preparing to face an unfamiliar opponent in Delaware. However, that unfamiliarity might help with game prep.
I expect that they're probably going to dig in a little deeper with the film because they don't know anything about Delaware, and that will be good for us. There can only be positives when they do that.
Delaware is back in the FCS playoffs for the first time since 2010, the same year they finished as the FCS football runner-ups.
You know, in this tournament, you know, every week that you win, you just become more and more relevant. And, you know, there are a number of programs that have been very relevant here of late. And, you know, those names are the names of the teams that we all recognize as kind of being the perennials, you know, that are in this tournament and winning games in this tournament. And it's been a while since, you know, Delaware's really been able to be in that group.
The Blue Hens own the 2nd best scoring defense in FCS, and that showed in last week's 20-14 win over Jacksonville State. Delaware held their opponent to just 200 yards while coming up with 5 sacks.
We've managed the group really well with depth. We got fresh guys in the game. You know, we're playing with fresh guys, and we're creating enough different combinations that we're getting guys free and into the backfield.
In Brookings, Grant Sweeter, Kettleland Sports.
We'll have full highlights and reaction from that game tonight on Kettleland News at 6 and 10.
Well, SDSU isn't the only local college football team in pursuit of a national championship, as Northwestern will play for the NAIA title Monday night against Lindsey Wilson. Jake Jones from our sister station, KCAU in Sioux City, takes a look at the challenges the Red Raiders are having to overcome heading into Monday's game.
On Monday, the Northwestern football team will play in the program's first national championship game since 1984. And this year's postseason run has been almost out of Hollywood, getting out of the first round for the first time in 3 years, beating the team that started their first round losing streak to do it. Then going on the road and beating the nation's #2 team, and finally getting a win over their biggest rivals and two-time reigning champs, Morningside. That said, every great movie has a twist, and this postseason story is no different. It was a moment of shock and awe. With 16 seconds left in the national semifinal, Tyson Koima threw the game-winning touchdown to Michael Story to send the Red Raiders to Louisiana. However, moments later, as Koima sat on the field with a trainer, worry started to set in about the Western Christian graduate's future.
I'm not 100% sure what it is. So calf, something, we're not sure how serious it is, but he's such a competitor. I mean, he'll be ready to go.
By Tuesday, the team had to face the uncomfortable truth.
It's just a tough way for his season to end, and he's not going to be able to play this week for us.
The very next day, the NAIA announced Koima was named the National Offensive Player of the Year, as well as a first-team All-American. A 4-year starter, Koima had finally gotten his team to the title game, but wouldn't get the chance to see the Raiders through.
You know, I haven't been hurt like all my life playing football, and being in the national championship, not being able to play, it was definitely tough at first, but you know, I'm just in a different role now.
In Koima's absence, redshirt sophomore Blake Fryer will take his place under center. The Waukee, Iowa native has thrown 37 career passes in 2 seasons in Orange City and made his last start in 2017, leading his high school team Van Meter to its first state championship in program history.
Just definitely just getting ready to play and just, you know, hoping to execute the best of my ability, and just more than anything leaning into the guys around me. Great O-line, great skill players. Really just have to do my 111th and just try to make things happen out there.
Despite Fryer stepping into some pretty big shoes, the Northwestern coaches are eager to show everyone there won't be as big of a drop-off as many may think.
He's strong enough to run. He's very cerebral. He understands what we're teaching and where the weaknesses of defenses are. Keeping him protected is a priority. He's got instincts. He is capable of making very good plays. I just had a meeting with Blake prior to this press conference, and Blake smiled and he said, "Coach, you need to relax." And I said, "Well, thanks for saying that. I'll try."
But it's not just his cool and calm demeanor that has the team believing in him. They've seen it firsthand.
I played Blake his senior year when he won the state championship, and I remember Blake in the biggest game of like my life at the time, and his too, and he played extremely well. It was probably the best game I've ever seen by a quarterback, and so I'm super excited for Blake he's waited so many years to get this opportunity.
For those of you at home wondering what game Noah Van Hoff was talking about, it's the 2017 state semifinal between West Lyon and Fryer's Van Meter Bulldogs, where Fryer finished 18 of 20 passing, 232 yards, and 3 scores. And a stat line like that would make all Red Raider fans very, very happy. Be sure to tune in for the championship coverage all weekend long leading up to kickoff Monday at 6 o'clock as Northwestern prepares to take on Lindsey Wilson. You can watch the game on ESPN3. In Sioux City, I'm Jake Jones.
And once again, the NAIA National Football Championship kicks off Monday night at 6 o'clock as Northwestern takes on Lindsey Wilson from Grambling, Louisiana. That game will air on ESPN3. Make sure to follow along with KCAU's Jake Jones leading up to kickoff and during the game as he'll be down in Grambling covering the championship. You can follow him on Twitter at Jake Jones KCAU. And racing season is upon us for both tracks and businesses alike. We'll head out to Sioux Speedway next ahead of their season opener on Sunday. Sioux Speedway is scheduled to open its first full season of racing since 2016 on Sunday. KELOLAND's Travis Fossing shows you what's new at the famed dirt track.
Sioux Speedway is back. I've been coming here since I've been a kid, and just to see cars back on this track and see fans walking through the gates is going to be pretty exciting to see again here on Mother's Day.
After hosting a limited number of events last August and September, owner Todd Quiring says the off-season was a productive one.
The outpouring of support with business owners and the corporate side and the race fan, we put all our suites are full, most of our nights are full, our billboards are getting full.
Early spring has also offered an opportunity to renovate. Huset's is looking to improve the fan experience with a new campground and decks on the suites.
Doing work on the campground right now, and the decks look fantastic. We're really excited about that. I think everybody up there is going to be really excited to see what they've got, with the finished product there.
The weekly program will consist of 410 Outlaw Sprints, Race Saver Sprints, and late model street stocks. And Huset's hopes to have fans home in a timely fashion.
We feel it's going to be a quick, fast-paced program, and everyone will be out of here by 10:15 and 10:30 at the latest. That's our goal.
It's not going to happen every single night. We're going to have some hiccups, and there's going to be some crashes and stuff that you can't control. But our main focus is to entertain the fans.
In Brandon, Travis Fossing, KELOLAND News.
But before it was even race weekend, excitement for the season had already began for both fans and businesses, including one just a few miles away from Huset's, who had held a race party last Sunday ahead of this week's opener. Travis Fossing takes us back out to Brandon with more.
Dozens of race cars and hot rods made their way to Red Rock Bar and Grill for Sunday's annual Race Party Car Show.
I used to race, so we coming from racing families, and once we got to Red Rock, it was a perfect place to host a little party where we could have the cars on display.
Mitch Runge has owned Red Rock for 7 years.
The weather scared a few people off, I think, but we still got a really good turnout, and nonetheless, everybody's really excited.
Much of that excitement centers on the long-awaited return of racing at Huset Speedway.
The vibe is in the air. Everybody's excited for Huset's back.
Runge says weekly races will provide a major boost to business.
Sundays are going to be a different game than when the track was closed for all the area businesses around here, and especially us.
I hope I get a chance to go there. It's definitely my favorite track.
Tyler Schlumbum started racing hobby stocks in 2016. He grew up watching his dad race at Huset Speedway and calls racing a family-oriented sport.
I've done it since I was a kid, watched my dad and watch all the friends he made, all the families and friends that he made there, and now I'm doing the same thing. So the racing community is awesome to be a part of.
Now Schlumbum is helping pave the way for the next generation of drivers. In Brandon, Travis Fossing, KELOLAND News.
Gates open for Sunday's races at 4:30 with hot laps at 6:30 and races starting at 7:30. The first 200 moms in attendance will receive a free carnation for Mother's Day.
Oh, good for the moms. April brought us career games, highlight reel catches, and put one local athlete on the brink of qualifying for the Olympics. We'll take a look at the top plays from the past month after the break. The month of April was busy for local college and high school teams, and with that came several top plays and playmakers. KELOLAND's Grant Sweeter gives you a look at the top plays of the month.
The 10th best moment of the month comes from Saturday, April 24th, and features 3 home runs by SDSU's Landon Badger, who blasted a grand slam, a solo, and a 3-run home run in the Jackrabbits' 12-2 win over NDSU. The 9th best moment of the month comes from SDSU softball's Kelsey Lennox, who in 4 games collected 4 home runs, 7 hits, and a staggering 14 runs batted in. The Jacks earned a 4-game weekend sweep of Omaha. The number 8 play of the month comes from the SDSU baseball team again, as the game is tied at 2 in the 9th until Drew Beasley chops a single into left field, allowing Carson Max to score for the walk-off 3-2 win over NDSU. The number 7 play of the month comes from the baseball diamond, where Washington is tied with Brandon Valley until Garen Heinert hooks a single into left field.
It gets through for a base hit. Here comes Moen around third for the win. The throw to the plate. Not in time. Washington walks it off.
That walk-off hit led the Warriors to a 3-2 win over the Lynx. The sixth best play from the month of April features a spectacular diving catch from USF's Lexi Swift, who robs an Augustana hitter of a single. The Cougars would split the doubleheader. The fifth best moment of the month comes from the soccer field, where SDSU is tied with North Dakota in double overtime until SDSU's Eden Brooker shoots the upper 90 for the game-winning goal. The Jacks earned a 1-0 win. The number 4 play comes from a walk-off home run by SDSU's Derek Hackman, who hammers a 3-run home run over the right field fence. The Jackrabbits earned a 9-8 win over Omaha. The third best play of the month comes from Augustana's Sam Byer, who hits not 1, not 2, but 7 home runs in a doubleheader victory over Bemidji State. Byer knocked in 14 RBIs in the 2 Augustana blowout wins. The number 2 play of the month comes from Lincoln's Grant Graber, who makes a diving snag up the middle and then throws out the runner to retire the side. Despite Graber's efforts, the Patriots would fall 5-2 to Harrisburg. The top play from the month of April comes from the high jump, where USD's Zach Anderson clears an impressive 2.26 meters. Anderson not only made program history, but he also qualified for the Olympic trials. He is now tied for the NCAA outdoor lead. That's a look at the top plays from the month of April. If you have a top play or moment that you would like to see featured on KELOLAND, tweet to us using the hashtag KELOSports. In Sioux Falls, Grant Sweeter, KELOLAND Sports.
Just some remarkable moments from the past month. Can't wait to see what May has to offer. Still ahead, from the Pine Ridge Reservation to the NFL, Teton Saltis hoping to inspire younger athletes across the country. We'll have that story next. Teton Saltis spent most of his childhood growing up on the Pine Ridge Reservation, and now he'll call New York home, well, for the time being, after signing with the New York Jets as an undrafted free agent last weekend.
What makes Teton's journey to the NFL even more remarkable is that he's only played football for 6 years. KELOLAND's Tom Hansen caught up with Saltis at the family home in Pine Ridge to talk about the challenge ahead.
It's very surreal, to say the least. You know, a moment like this, you dream about your whole life.
Teton was hoping to be drafted last weekend, but that didn't happen.
But I knew that right after the draft would happen, that there would be, plenty of teams blowing my phone up and wanted me to sign with them. And
Teton chose the Jets. As an offensive lineman, he believes he has a good chance of making the team.
I have a lot of potential, and I think they want me to come in and just continue to get better.
Dave Williams was an assistant athletic director at USD and now works at the University of New Mexico.
Teton is just an outstanding leader with deep convictions. But really the difference in Teton is that he takes those convictions and turns them into action.
I love my brother. I'm grateful that I have him in my life.
Teton says throughout his journey, his family has been supporting him.
It's so amazing for me to have them a part of it, and so many other people out there, in South Dakota and New Mexico, where I played football at. And I mean, there's just so many people that surrounded me and have been a part of the journey. So it's really amazing when you look back at it.
You realize you've become an example for other young people on reservations all over the country.
Right. And, I don't take that lightly. That's something that I've always tried to do and tried to be. I wanted to be that beacon of hope in a land of darkness, if you will.
For many athletes, the NFL is the final goal.
For me, it's just the beginning of what I want to do, and there's so many people that I want to bring along and continue to empower. It's not just on the reservation. I mean, it's all people from all walks of life. So it's amazing. It really is, and I'm so excited to continue this journey and bring so many people along with me.
After football, Teton has his sights set on law school and possibly politics. New summer collegiate baseball team is set to make its debut later this month after having its season canceled last year due to the pandemic. We'll introduce you to the Sioux Falls Sunfish after the break. Expedition Baseball is set to return to Sioux Falls this summer. Sioux Falls Sunfish will make their league debut after having their inaugural season canceled last year due to the pandemic. If you're looking for fun ways to soak up the South Dakota sun this summer, the Sioux Falls Sunfish may be just what you're looking for.
The Expedition League has been around for 4 years now. We are a new member in Sioux Falls. It's a summer collegiate baseball league for current college baseball players, and we're going to be playing our 32 home games at Augustana.
The roster will feature a good mix of local talent alongside prospects from around the U.S.
We got kids from JUCO schools from around the country. We got 4 Augustana kids that are going to be joining us. A couple local Sioux Falls kids, a kid by the name of Gannon Thompson that's coming back from Michigan State, and players from around the country.
Entertainment will be provided in more ways than just baseball.
We have crazy stuff going on between innings. We'll be selling beer, kind of all this good stuff. So, people, I'm sure just chomping at the bit to get outside this summer. And, Sioux Falls Sunfish at Cares Park is going to be a great place to go to.
With the season rapidly approaching, the Sunfish are still in search of host families.
All these kids will be staying with the host family if they're not local. So that is something that we're still looking for leading up to our season, which starts May 25th.
I actually worked in this league in 2018, funny enough, with a team in Pierre, South Dakota, the Pierre Trappers, and I had a host family, and I still get Christmas cards from them. I still get calls from my host mom checking in on me, so it's really that kind of opportunity to, just basically bring in someone, but then they become lifelong bonds and you have a great time.
Sunfish open their season May 25th. If interested in becoming host family for this season, we provided that link under the story on KELOLAND.com. We'll take a look at next week's sports schedule when we come back.
Welcome back to SportsZone Saturday. Before we leave, let's take a look ahead to next week's sports schedule. Northwestern, well, they'll play for the NAIA National Football title Monday night as they take on Lindsey Wilson. Game is set to kick off at 6 o'clock from Eddie Robinson Stadium in Grambling, Louisiana. Of course, Northwestern down Tyson Koima. Just curious what you think about having a backup quarterback come into that game, Tanner.
You have to have the next man up mentality. Now, that kid is stepping into a big role, but this could be a moment for him that kind of propels him in his career. So I wouldn't count out Northwestern quite yet. Big loss with their quarterback, Koima, on the sidelines, but again, he's in a different role as well. He can help with leadership, so don't count out Northwestern quite yet.
All right, then on Tuesday, Roosevelt Baseball hosting Harrisburg in the live stream game of the week at 5 o'clock. That game will live stream on KELOLAND.com with our very own Grant Sweeter providing the play-by-play. Then head to Wednesdays, the Summit League softball tournament beginning with the opening round play in Fargo. And the double elimination portion of the tournament begins on Thursday. Tournament will conclude on Saturday at the championship. South Dakota State, the top seed coming into the tournament, looking for their first tournament title and NCAA appearance. And then down Vermilion, it's the Summit League Track and Field Championships. They'll begin Thursday at 11 a.m. The 3-day event concludes on Saturday.
That does it for this week's SportsZone Saturday. Thanks again for tuning in.
Enjoy the rest of your Mother's Day weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.